Hi guys, Naomi here. Today we will be doing soil texturing. So this is how to figure out what the composition of the soil is using a soil triangle. And I'll go more about that later. So we have three different types of soil. We have one from my backyard, which is behind me. We have one from the front yard, and then the third one, I went across the street and we have a little space by the creek. The third one was actually really rocky, but I took some of those rocks out for the sake of this. Okay, so what we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is make a ball with the soil. Now these soils are all really dry, so what we got to do is add water until it's like, not clay, but where you can compact it into your hand and it won't break. Then what you're going to do is make a ribbon. It's called, that's what it is, it's called a ribbon. Since we figured out the ribbon, then we can use our little questionnaire guide. It's not a questionnaire, it's a dichotomous scheme, just FYI. To figure out, to help us figure out, get closer to what kind of soil it is. And then we're going to add more water to it, water it down a lot to get it to the point where it's just very, I don't know how to explain it, except for very watered down. And we'll feel that with our fingers to figure out what kind of soil it actually is. From there, we'll take it to the triangle, the soil texturing triangle, which has three things. There's sand, oh my goodness, sorry. There's sand, clay, and silt. So basically, if you're doing this at home, the way you could use for those is clay is just clay. Sand is sand. You could use what's it called? Sandbox sand. And the third for silt is you could use cornstarch to mimic that. So we're gonna figure out what my different soils are. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've got myself all ready. You can definitely, oh my voice, sorry. I've gotten myself all ready. You could definitely put on an apron or something if you're worried about your clothes. I'm not that worried, but I did roll up my sleeves, pull my hair back, pull off jewelry, all that jazz. So we're gonna start off with soil number one. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is move that stuff back, just push everything back basically. Have my second camera, and we're going to do soil number one. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to take some of the soil and pour it out. So basically just, for me at least, I want to get the little parts, the more, not like sandy, but the little parts, and I'm going to pull out the root and stuff because that's just going to, at least for me, it makes it more difficult. So we're going to pull out that stuff. This is a big chunk. It looks like it's just dirt, so I'll crumble it down when I can and then put the rest over here. Okay, so we have our soil number one. First soil right here. Oh my goodness. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our water and just pour a little bit. Oh, that was not a little bit. Wait, nice thing is we have more soil, so we can add more soil. And I'm just going to let that seep in, really, I guess. Okay. Oh, that made a mess. Basically, we have this beautifulness. Let me grab on this camera. So we have this beautiful amazingness, just very malleable. Okay, that's actually really satisfying. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it in both hands and not like rub it, but kind of rub it. Basically, like this. Voila. On my hands. Okay. So we have this, and when I squeeze it, it doesn't crumble, it just kind of squishes. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this, and you want to make it a ribbon. Now, the important thing about ribbons is when it starts to like fall, just kind of one like that, uniform. And then see how it started to fall right there? So I'm going to say between the first crack and the tip. That's about 1.5, maybe 2 centimeters. And I'm going to do it again just to make sure. And obviously if you're dealing with like sand, no matter how much water you add to it, it's going to just soak through pretty much. You can't really get sand to stick together. At least for me in my experience, so with sand, with a very close to 100% sand, don't worry about that. unless bird's fighting. And then we'll just do it again. It almost looks like a cookie. We're just gonna squish it up. And that time, oh, this time it fell a little bit further down. So that was about 3 centimeters. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'd say 3 centimeters. So this is my soil number 1. We're gonna come over here to the computer. I'm gonna record this screen. Okay, so start. The soil remained in a ball when it was squeezed, so we got that. And then next we made the ribbon. And the soil did form a ribbon, yes. So the first time the soil made a ribbon around 2 centimeters. The second time it was 4 centimeters. So we're going to look at both of these. Both the sandy loam, silt loam section, and the sandy clay loam, silty clay loam, and the clay loam. So we're going to get started with that. Now in order to do that, what you're going to do is you take a pinch. Literally you don't need like hardly any. Just need a little pinch. And you're going to put it in your palm. And then you're going to add a whole lot of water, like a ridiculous amount of water. Just like that. It's gonna look weird, feel weird. And you just wanna rub. Rubby dub dub. So for me, and I don't know if you can see there, but it's mostly smoothed out, but there are some grittiness. And honestly, yeah, we can, actually, that'd be a good idea. So we're gonna do the ribbon again, just so we know for sure. So we're gonna roll it into a ball, and then we're gonna squeeze it. And it fell there. Okay, that's not over 2.5 centimeters. So I'm going to say we have loam. I'm gonna go with loam for soil number 1 because it was, while it was gritty, it wasn't excessively gritty, and then I might just be not knowing what excessively means, but I feel like it wasn't excessively gritty and it wasn't excessively smooth. There's like some smoothness, some smoothness, and some grittiness. So we're gonna go with loam for number 1. Yay, we figured it out. Okay, second one. Here is our second soil. Yeah. So this had rock in it too, a bunch more dead stuff. There was some green. Oh, let me pick it up. There. Oh my goodness. Oh my, hold on. Here we go. There's some green because it was from my front yard and we have more grass in my front yard. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take this and dump some of it out. This feels very, not mulchy, but like there's a bunch of sticks in it. And here's some like random fabric, just probably put in by someone to try and like help with the mulching. Not mulching. Is mulching a word? Comment in this. Put it in the comment section if mulching is a word. Okay, but now that we have this, we're going to add water. Now one thing is you cannot add too much water. Now watch me put way too much water in. You just don't want to put too much water in. But yeah, you can if you're me. I'm kidding. You don't want to put too much water in because then you kind of have to put more soil in to not like reclaim it, but to like fix it, and that's just more of a problem. So for the first one we got a loam. For the second one, I'm honestly not sure what I'm expecting. I feel like it'll also be a loam, probably. A type of loam with way too much organic matter. Not too much organic matter, but a lot. So we're gonna go with this, and then we're just gonna ribbon it. Oh, okay, that was, well, let me redo that. have it like this. I'd say it didn't even go 1 centimeter, so we're gonna say it's probably a sandy loam, silt loam, or just a regular loam, which was the route we went with soil number 1. Again, this is soil number 2. So we're just gonna come in and add a whole bunch of water. Like a lot of water. I'm just gonna mix that soil in there. Let's try to figure that out. Honestly, I feel like this is less, what's the word? Oh yeah, less gritty. Like, I can feel some grittiness, but I'm like pulling it out, and I can see it's not actually this. I mean, I guess it is the soil, but I also feel like it's the organic material more. So I'm gonna say this is a silt loam, because it's not, I mean, it's neither, I'd say it's more smooth than, what's the word? Gritty. So yay, more dirty hands. Kidding. I mean, not really. My hands are a mess. Okay, number 3. This is the third soil. It came from across the street. There were some really big rocks. That means big pieces of parent material that I just pulled out. There's also a dandelion in here. There's not much dead roots though. So you're seeing that there's not much dead roots. There's that dandelion. Where I got it did have some grass, but it didn't have any other things growing here. I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but soil number 1 also had, has sunflowers growing next to it. So that might change some things about the soil too. Okay, so we're gonna add water, again with me trying to do the finger drop trick, which I've already tried 2 other times and has failed. So I'm just gonna use my hand to help guide the water. This seems very rocky. Also, it's a different color. I'm not sure how I should feel about it. But it's a lighter brown. I don't know if you can tell, but like, here, just take this and compare that color with that color right there. Soil number 3 is definitely lighter than number 1. And I feel like if you compare number 1 and number 2 is the darkest. I think number 2 wins for being the darkest, and number 3 wins for being the lightest. But again, let's keep mixing number 3 and see where it goes. Once you place the ball, so between your thumb and your forefinger, gently pushing down with your thumb, squeezing it upward into a ribbon, like that. And it broke like at 1 centimeter. I feel like, not like I'm gonna rig it or anything, but I feel like it should have a different result. So, I'm gonna add more. Basically, we have this, and we're gonna ribbon it up. That time I hit about 2 centimeters. So for this, I'm gonna say it's sandy loam because just from that, and then I'll take this, again, doing the test. So I'm going to say that this one is a sandy loam. So the 3, we have a loam, a silt loam, and a sandy loam. Okay, so we finished up our actual soil part. Here you have it, soil number 1, soil number 2, and soil number 3. And now we're going to come in and look at the soil textural triangle. So for the first one, I chose it to be, I didn't choose it to be, but I decided that it was a loam. So if you look here, that's what a loam is. So it's in the middle with about, it could have like 50% sand, 50% clay, and 50% silt. So it's not 50%, but like 33, a third each. And so that's the most middle thing. The second one that I decided was a silt loam. So that means that there's less sand in it and more silt. So as you look at this chart, you can see the different lines. So for clay, 50 is going to be that line. Silt, that 50 is going to be that line. And then for sand, 50 is going to be that line. So they'll kind of meet there in the loam. For the silt loam, you come over here into this region. So this means that there's less sand and there's more silt. and the clay amount could stay the same. But basically, there's less sand and more silt. For the sandy loam, it's the opposite. But there's less clay, but it's less clay and more sand, and you could have different amounts of silt. But basically, for silt loam, you have more silt, and for sandy loam, you have a lot more sand. So those were my 3. In conclusion, this is so much fun. Soil texturing is really fun. It does get your hands a little bit dirty, so be cautious about that. Also, I'm gonna have to clean the sink because of the mud and all. But overall, it's a lot of fun, and it's really nice to help figure out what's in your dirt.